Switzerland is such an amazing country to visit, so in this video I'm telling you some things that you need to know before you go as a tourist. Switzerland is grouped up into 26 cantons, so different regions around the country that have their own little culture and sometimes speak different languages. Switzerland has 4 different official languages that includes French, Swiss German, Italian, and Romansh. And the cantons that speak these languages often come with the culture of like Italian, French, German, for example. Switzerland is not part of the EU and they use the Swiss franc. The EU, if you didn't know, is the European Union, which has a group of many countries all together, and they often use the euro. Just know Switzerland is not a part of that, so you're going to need to bring the Swiss francs, and they're not under the European Union laws and regulations and stuff. Although they're not part of the EU, they're a part of the Schengen zone, and what the Schengen zone means that they do not require border patrol between the countries, so you can travel, for example, between France, Italy, Switzerland without having to get your passport checked. Switzerland has quiet times between like 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Now this is different between the different cities and cantons, also sometimes on the weekends, but I've heard that, I don't know if this is true or not, but some places do not even allow you to flush the toilet after 10 p.m. I think that's mainly based on like apartments and stuff. So don't travel to Switzerland expecting to see a lot of nightlife. I thought it would be a little bit more lively at night than it was. Try to avoid those loud activities at night. Although when I was traveling in Switzerland, there was a big like rave party out in the streets, so they do have this festival sometimes that you can go enjoy the party. So try to travel, if you're looking for like a more party scene, try to travel during one of those festivals. There's a lot of free-flowing tap water around the city, so don't buy that bottled water. You can find some of the most filtered water in the entire world in Switzerland, so don't be afraid to put your little reusable water under those water taps that you can find in the cities. Tipping is not required, and most of the time they will charge a service fee on your bill, but if they don't do that, some locals do say to kind of round up a few dollars if you have good service and you want to tip, so don't expect it to be required. The weather in Switzerland can be really unpredictable, especially if you're going up in the mountains, so be prepared for all types of weather, especially the rain and the cold if you're traveling in the summer. It can't hurt to be precautious, and a lot of times the mountains have a webcam that you can log into and see what the weather's like on the top of the mountain at the time, so you can be prepared before you go up the mountains. Switzerland is a very expensive country, so make sure you bring a little bit more money than you plan to, because you'll probably spend more than you expect. A lot of locals even leave the country to buy items or bring them back into the country because it's a little bit more cheaper in other countries, so just know that and have a little extra money on the side. Now this next tip is for US citizens only. You are required for your passport to be valid for 6 months past your travel date. So for example, if I travel May of 2025, I want my passport to be valid at least 6 months past that date, or you will not be allowed to enter the country. The Swiss are very reserved, and sometimes they may come across as rude, but that's not them being rude. They're just a little bit more reserved, and they may not want to make that little small talk that we're used to in the US. Hiking trails may be a little bit more difficult than anticipated, so always do hiking trails at your level or below. Don't try to go up a little bit on your hiking level because the mountains in Switzerland are super huge and the trails can be unsafe for tourists that aren't used to the terrain. Also, make sure you have the correct gear and hiking boots. Don't try to hike a trail in just tennis shoes or flip-flops if you know the trail is a little bit more intense. The cheese and chocolate are even better than you expected, so try to visit those specialty chocolate and cheese shops. Try the fondue, try hot chocolate, try chocolate ice cream. I mean, the options are endless, so you just have to try everything. I know Switzerland isn't really known to be like a foodie country, although there are those things like chocolate and cheese that everyone loves, but at least go to those specialty locations and indulge. If you're visiting a hotel in Switzerland, oftentimes they will give you a guest public transport pass that allows you to travel around the city for free. Whenever I went to St. Moritz, Switzerland, they gave me a public guest pass, and it even included a gondola up the mountain, so that is super special. I don't think every hotel offers this, but some do. But if your hotel doesn't offer this, at least look into a thing called the Swiss Pass, which is a pass that you pay up front, and it includes a lot of the public transport around Switzerland. Not everything is included, but if it's not, sometimes they'll give you a discount on certain gondolas and trains. So that's everything I have on things to know before you visit Switzerland. I hope this was helpful for you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.